Yo, y'all can hear me, chat? So mic audio clear at the very moment.
Yo, y'all can hear me, chat?
All right. Yo, what's good, chat? How y'all feeling today? I'm feeling blessed. Back with more of me playing Fortnite solo, chat. Um, man, I have not been streaming all day, chat. Actually, haven't streamed yesterday, which I'm still awake, so it would still consider me like streaming every day. Which I didn't have a chance to yesterday because I had to, because it's currently Sunday. It's like 1:21 at the moment. I'm gonna possibly stream for quite a bit, do quite a bit of quests. So I can't talk too loud. Um, so I'm gonna possibly play like a couple matches, but like, um, certain shit I gotta chat about as well. Um, but yeah, yesterday I had to work for Bar Sun Sprinkler, so I had to do that. Uh, get back home. I had to do like a few houses. Then I had to get back home, take a shower. Um, just chill outside, watch the WWE Friday Night SmackDown for quite a bit. Then I had to watch Night of Champions. Um, yeah, it's not much overall, but there's certain things I want to mention. So unfortunately, um, yo, it's good, AZ. How you feeling, brother? And yeah, no problem, brother. Might as well I just, we call, I'm doing great overall, feeling blessed. Yeah, I wasn't able to play Madden or NBA. Well, NBA 2K25, I'm not able to because there's like it's like locked. Like only my dad have access to it. But it's all good. I could possibly play like Madden 25 or WWE 2K25. So next week will possibly be WWE 2K25. We'll see though, because I may possibly give myself a job. Because real shit, I definitely need to consider working at Tim Hortons overall, chat. But but yeah, I was gonna say unfortunately, um, one of my homies that I have a Facebook I used to interact with in person. He was actually a very chill guy, hilarious, obviously. I'm not gonna say his name, not gonna give details, like details about his name and all that, but unfortunately, um, so y'all could be aware as well, so I'm gonna just mention it here, most likely, but unfortunately, chat, due to the lust, due to being a pedo, due to being a pervert, due to being a sex offender, which is the whole meaning of the term sex offender, pedo, pedophile, or pervert is the true definition of what a sex offender means. You're lusting, you choose sex over love, but overall, he unfortunately raped a 16-year-old without her permission. Yes, yes, due to current laws, and I go with the flow of light of, through God of my Jesus Christ, to just obey these laws for now until they change. But considering the fact these current laws have not necessarily changed, it is, well, overall, raping is wrong. You should never do without their permission in terms of that activity. But one, he didn't have her permission, and two, due to current laws, even though they're satanic, and earthly, um, for the, like considering the fact it's, satanic, earthly, laws and or commandments, um, even though they're temporarily can change over time. Overall, in terms of the current law, like we go with the flow of life through God Almighty Jesus Christ and obey these current laws. So what he did wasn't necessarily obedient. One was lustful, choosing sex over love, which wasn't right. necessarily. Like he didn't have her permission, and two, due to current laws, it wasn't necessarily so. Unfortunately, he got arrested and was sentenced to either like 6 to like 15 years in terms of the current law, like in terms of how they sentence it for these certain sins or crimes in terms of modern terms, which is what atheists typically use or could be a synonym for the word sin. But yeah, what I'm referring to, earthly and satanic laws, they're not, it's not and, it's either satanic or earthly, meaning they're synonyms. So earthly or satanic laws or commandments, which is temporarily can change over time, is what I'm referring to. But overall, considering the fact it's the current law, I go with the flow of light and like through God Almighty Jesus Christ and obey overall. But yeah, that is something I gotta mention so y'all could be aware because it's lustful overall when you don't have someone permission like that because you're choosing sex over love, not right. And two, the current laws, you know, of what I'm referring to, which doesn't seem reasonable, but in God eye, just don't necessarily be lustful in terms of that. But overall, you know, we go with the flow of light, like I specifically mentioned, through God Almighty Jesus Christ in terms of being obedient towards those laws. And yo, what's good? Whoever joined, yeah, my bad for what we had to walk into. I had to just mention this shit just so people could be aware overall, and um, what's it called? Anything else I could possibly consider mentioning, like certain shit? Shit, cause I had to chat about that overall, and I'm like, it's fucked. Real shit. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention. Appreciate you all for exactly 491 sub chat. Man, I've been patient to have exactly 491 subs. Hopefully, I can, like I mentioned, potentially get thousands of subs and then potentially millions. Like without you, chat, and I know exactly, because I have exactly 500 IQ and know exactly everything, and it's equal to exactly infinite IQ in terms of like the gift of knowledge through God Almighty Jesus Christ. But overall, you know how most people say, without you, I wouldn't know where I would be at this moment. No, I know exactly. But for them, that's their answer that they most likely know, or what they have overall, or what they found. So God Almighty Jesus Christ when He wants people to find certain answer overall. But anyway, without you guys overall, then I'll just be playing video games. I would just chill, not have to deal with haters, would just hope to have a YouTube channel. That's what I would feel. I would just be like, man, I wish I could most likely have a YouTube channel, just have loving supporters, and just interact with people immediately. That's what I would mention. I was just having these thoughts. But with you all, I appreciate you all. I appreciate all my love and supporters. Be a player, not a hater. That's all that matters. You know. But hey, bro, could you possibly like repeat that chat again? Cause AZ, I saw his chat, but your chat was a bit quite long. So could you possibly like um make the sentence quite smaller so it doesn't like have no room for like when I look at a PS5, it won't have that dot 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 where I'm not able to necessarily witness it. Unless could I possibly be able to check my chats while on the PS5? No, you can't. Hold on, I'm gonna ask Google. Could people check their live stream chats on their PS5? Um, Yes, people can check their live stream chat on the PS5. Here's how. During a live stream, when broadcasting the broadcast card in the control center option in the chat, you can turn display chat to see comments on your screen. You can even have the comments read aloud with chat to speech. So would I have to like pause my stream? No, I can't actually pause my stream. Um, it's gonna take a while for me to process the chat. Yeah, ensure that you all repeat the chat. You know, because for PS5 it's different. For PS4 you can check it, but for PS5 you can't necessarily. So, if you, because I checked your chat and you mentioned something about VR and you're like, what are you walking to? Which I mentioned like, you know, I know chat. You know, without further ado, let's get straight to the shit. But yeah, I even mentioned I haven't streamed all day, man. Like I've been quite busy. I even mentioned my schedule, you know, as well. That's like the main idea of what most likely happened. Because it's gonna take quite a while for me to process. Because when it's been a long day, it would take quite a while for me to process it. Typically depends, you know. I'm sure I've mentioned majority of it, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Can't mention every detail. During the final judgment, that's when that would occur, where every detail of your life would be revealed from the day you were born within your mortal body, like you've entered your mortal body from the day it either rests in peace or live for God for thousands of years. Like they're biologically immortal, their mortal body, but still transform back to who they are, their glorified body, which is them, obviously. Like it's you, genuinely you, still you. Like almost in my mortal body, it's still me, but the difference is like you develop hair in your body, which we shouldn't have necessarily, but I'm sure it's to protect us from the temperatures, like the heat, the cold, like in terms of our facial hair, chest hair, abdomen hair, pubic. Not gonna really give in majority of the details, but you know what I'm referring to. Arm hair, leg hair. I'm sure that's what it's for. Apparently, that's what's in the mortal body, and it's still me. I just have that. Other features could possibly be like imperfection for certain people, which I have a perfect face. I'm perfect overall, but unfortunately, don't have a perfect life. Like you know how I complain. Sometimes I'm ungrateful for certain shit. Like, ugh, I don't want a PS5 or PS4. I'm ungrateful for a PS4. Oh, I hate the PS4. I'm grateful for a PlayStation overall because it still has the same game. Like that's what I'm like. Because you could play Fortnite on both consoles. It's just that the PS5, it's different. Because when I use a PS4, the battery like dies immediately, but for the PS5, it's still going. And I was in a college AZ, like obviously it would have went out the bar. That's why I love PS5. You just can't be lazy in the company chat. When you create a PlayStation overall, like PS6 is next. Like they shouldn't necessarily be arrogant, thinking that they're better, and they shouldn't be. They should be humble about it. They shouldn't be a sloth, meaning lazy, like what they add. Yo, it's good, Jesse. How you feeling about the? And like they shouldn't necessarily be greedy, wanting more and more money, and not using it for the materials, making it advanced, luxurious, futuristic. I'm not gonna really focus much on my quest, so whatever I could possibly do. Interesting. I've already done week 0, week 1. Well, obviously week 0, but week 1 as well. So I got to do week 2. Not gonna really necessarily dwell on that shit. So let's focus on purchase items or services from characters. Depending on if I have majority of the gold, it's not gonna mention exactly where they are, but you're tracking it like so you can ensure like, hey, okay, I got that. Plus, look at the battle pass, man. I'm like behind, but doesn't necessarily matter. Like when my homie AZ mentions he's on level 100, I'm like, that's that's cool, man. Congratulations. Like I wouldn't necessarily envy, because I even mentioned to him, I'm a virtue guy. I'm righteous overall. Yo, why is that Jesse? Like I'm a virtue guy. I never like I'm without sin, without any mistakes, just perfection, without bragging about it. This is a fact. Like it's very rare to witness someone who's a virtue. Like a virtue overall, chat. Meaning like they're righteous, like they're like without sin and without any mistakes. Like people are gonna judge you for majority of those reasons. You may think that, but I have a rare specific type of mental trauma which is very rare and very temporary. So like certain times people are gonna judge me and then I'll be like, oh shit. Like, I'm gonna overthink. But overall they shouldn't. That is what makes me interfere with that because I don't want to overthink about that, you know? Because you see me, when it comes to haters, I have my rights. That is aggression, but a righteous wrath, which is quite a bit associated with my rare specific type of mental trauma, which is very, very, very temporarily. When someone mentioned to me to get a new mic, I've already had a mic, but I didn't have to go to the store and use my money. Like, I'm grateful overall, and I'm using the mic that statics at my mom's place when I connect it to my PS4. Is it currently static? Static? I'm gonna raise it up.
Like, I'm grateful overall, and I'm using the mic that statics at my
No. See, the PS5 like ensures that this mic doesn't static. Like God Almighty Jesus Christ is like you got to be grateful for the mic you have. You got two mics. What do you got to be grateful for? That one or that one? Both. Be grateful that you have a mic overall, man. Real shit. But yeah, Jesse, why you feel sad? I mean, I saw your chat. I'm gonna pay attention to you all chat as well. I can't like look anywhere overall because like I'm using a PS5, which I'm hoping that like if I stream on PC when I use my PS5, I can just have a separate screen so I can see my chat from that screen. And I can like pay attention constantly. What if I have billions of subs, man? That would be like a miracle. Like God, my Jesus Christ blessing me, knowing like what I'm doing exactly, like what He commanded me. But yeah, like God doesn't necessarily like age restriction, age requirement, or anything like that. But like even Jesse witnessed it. He's like, yeah, you mentioned it before, but you don't talk much about it because people are gonna constantly judge you simply because of that. But it's the current law, so I go with the flow of life through God Almighty Jesus Christ to be obedient towards it. But once it changes, then I obey that version. If it changes. But considering the fact that it didn't necessarily change, yes, it's lustful to just rape someone, like doing that with them without their permission, because you're choosing that over love. You know, just going through things that. Yo, yeah, Jesse, hold up. Before I read, you say you going through plenty, but hold up. Um, Let me continue what I'm mentioning before I read majority of what you mentioned. Well, I have to explain something before I read it. But overall, yeah, it's lustful overall. And then two, besides just not asking for her permission, the laws haven't changed. Like the earthly or satanic laws, or should I mention earthly/satanic laws/commandments, which are temporarily could change over time, but it haven't changed yet. It's the current law, and we gotta go with the flow of the light through God Almighty Jesus Christ to be obedient towards these current laws. So overall, you're obviously gonna get arrested, you know, in terms of this sinful/fallen version of this world. Like you can't just like now he's considered a sex offender, which he lusted. It has nothing to do like, ooh, you're so cute. I want to be with you. Yeah, you know how the current law is, but God wouldn't mind like give me the chance like. But you're lusting though. You didn't do it without her permission, or you did it without her permission. But either way, you'll still be arrested because one, without her permission, you're raping, and two, the current laws. Yeah, God doesn't agree with that current law, but as of currently, we go with the flow of light through God Almighty Jesus Christ and obey Him just to be aware, because God wants us to not go through that. But You know how sin is in this world. I'm not gonna mention his name or anything because if my uncle watches, he's gonna be like, just be aware not to mention too much. Just give some details so people can be aware, so that if they witness someone like that, they can be aware. But like it's messed up. That's just messed up. It's even a sin if you're like that to your girl. Even if my girl's 24, I can even be arrested if I do without her permission. But considering the fact we're both in like that age range where like as according to the current law, which we go with the flow of light through God my Jesus Christ, as I specifically mentioned, where we like be obedient towards it overall. Um, Considering the fact haven't necessarily changed through the U.S. government or any other government, but overall the U.S. government, considering the fact we both live in the U.S., like me, my girl, and those who are within the U.S., which obviously all of you are, or majority, obviously not all, majority, but like me and my girl both live in Michigan. I'm not gonna say the exact city unless I could possibly, but no, definitely not. Just in terms of how this sin in this world where people can be murdered or seized if I gave my city away, like people can track. But like no, like we both live in Michigan, but overall, like I'm aware. I'm not. Well, obviously I wouldn't lust because I mentioned that I'm not necessarily a sinner or a sanctified being where I sin less, like sinning less time or sometimes, But obviously I'm not a lustful person, absolutely not. But overall, I had GD's brother. And two, I would obviously. So one, I would have her permission, and two, I wouldn't necessarily lust for my girl, obviously. Just overall, chat, be aware. You know how this current generation, century, and decade we're currently in. So just be aware. Be aware, man. Everybody's gonna have their own interpretation in terms of the sinful world, but I've mentioned that people shouldn't lust. Like when you choose sex over love and not going for the permission and just forcing your ways, that is considered a sin. You're arrogant, lustful, greedy. You may do it for money. There's plenty of reasons. And then two, the current laws, chat. You don't like some people think for safety reasons, but people are safe overall of all ages, in terms of it. But that's just the law they chose. Like the earthly slash satanic laws slash commandments, which is temporarily can change over time. And when I mean by satanic, meaning laws that doesn't align with God, but the reason why we go with the flow of light, like through God Almighty Jesus Christ, is so we don't get ourselves through any of these issues, making it stressful on ourselves overall. Especially for me, considering the fact I have a rare specific type of mental trauma, and it's very, very, very temporarily. But overall, I'm very obedient, very righteous guy. A virtue, like without sin and without mistakes, like without any sin and without any sin, without any mistakes. But overall, chat, obviously, I wouldn't disobey in terms of lusting and the current laws that haven't necessarily changed yet, which I go with the flow of light, like I specifically mentioned, through God Almighty Jesus Christ and obey overall. But overall, yeah, just be aware, chat. That's why I'm mentioning this because prison is a temporary punishment within this world, but below this world, it's for thousands of years, which is gonna feel like an eternity without it being indefinitely. But it's not infinite time, but it's thousands of years, depending on how long people will be in hell, and it's gonna feel like an eternity, like you're there forever, like like that is like the eternal prison, but worse than a prison. It's hell itself. So for those who are sinners, it's sad. I'm not gonna mention who's a sinner because it's you're gonna have that feeling in terms of what hell is like, that. But if it's those who are virtuous like me, they would love to know that they'll be in heaven. For those who don't necessarily know, For those who don't necessarily know. But anyway, chat, I'm gonna head to bed, chat. I definitely consider streaming once I wake up because it's currently late and I don't want to wake up my parents, even though they may not necessarily wake up, depending on if they wake up or not. But all mentioning overall, chat, just be aware. But yeah, I was gonna mention, Jesse, like, you gotta like write small sentences because if you write longer, then I won't be able to see the rest of the chat since I'm streaming on the PS5. If it's on the PS4, I would have be able to read it. You know. But overall, I have empathy for whatever you mentioned. Like I understand. Time. Be sure to do once I stream on the PS4. I brother. So I'm not gonna stream on the PS5. So just doing small sentences, but then you can write the whole thing for when I stream on the PS4. Like you would know the difference. If you see that red dot, which is like the live symbol, then you would know I'm streaming the PS5. But for PS4, since they don't have the emojis like features for the PS4, then yeah, you would most likely be able to know that I'm streaming on the PS4. Which yeah, majority or all would know. All of my subs. But anyway, chat, yeah, I'm gonna end right here. If you wanna see more of me playing Fortnite overall, be sure to leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I'm gonna end right here. Take it easy, chat.